All right, the gelatin hydrolysis test works because it's testing uh, whether or not a bacterial strain or species expresses a gene for a protein called gelatinase, which is a protease. And this is something that gets us directly into some really disgusting clinical manifestations, namely necrotizing fasciitis. And this is one of the reasons gelatinase expression is one of the reasons that University of West Georgia student last year, Amy Copeland, lost a lot of her limbs. She had necrotizing fasciitis from something called Aeromonas hydrophilia. And a lot of that can be attributed to this gelatinase. So just to review your anatomy, physiology, connective tissue, a lot of the connective tissue is sort of based on these collagen bands. Collagen is these, if you'll remember, almost like they're extracellular protein cables here in red, in areolar, and then in dense connective tissue. And it makes up a good portion of the tissue, and it provides the structural integrity of the tissue. Okay, and so a good portion of you is held together by collagen, among other things. Okay, collagen being a protein. Okay, so this is my drawing of collagen, a collagen protein. Collagen is made up minimally. These fibers, if you take them apart, are made up of 3 copies of the collagen protein. There we go. The collagen protein, and they form a triple helix. So the DNA is a double helix, collagen is a triple helix, and this is my lame attempt at a triple helix. So this is how the collagen protein would look like in your connective tissue. Well, obviously it wouldn't be different colors, but this is sort of the state it would be in. Now you can take collagen and you can heat it, add a little acid, and you can make gelatin. Okay, so gelatin is made from collagen by heating it with some acid, and I'll put up a YouTube video, this corny YouTube video of how to make gelatin, actually informative video. Okay, and gelatin can be a liquid. Right, so you go from a solid tissue, heat it with some acid, and you can actually form a liquid. Okay, everybody knows about gelatin. You cool it down, and it'll actually form a gel. Okay, and this is forming a gel because these proteins, when you cool them down, they don't quite form the nice full triple helix structure, but portions of the proteins will form some triple helix structure that gives it its gel-like state or gel-like properties. But a lot of it is still sort of randomly. These proteins are randomly moving around. So it's not quite as organized as the collagen in your tissue, but it's organized enough to form a gel. And then, of course, you can heat it back up. You can heat gelatin back up, and it'll form the liquid again. So these proteins will come apart. Right? So our gelatinase assay, our gelatin hydrolysis assay, sort of relies on this gelatin going between these two states here by modulating with temperature. Now, a bacteria that expresses a gelatinase, okay, will digest these collagen proteins, and they'll form little peptides and amino acids. And this is purely a liquid. Once you've degraded those proteins into short peptides and amino acids, there's no going back, baby. It's permanently liquid. Okay, and these gelatinase enzymes, these proteases, can also degrade any of these forms. Right? In a tissue, obviously you have collagen like this in this really organized state, and these bacterial enzymes can digest that too and actually liquefy your tissue. So when you have necrotizing fasciitis, one of the reasons it is so invasive and so disgusting is that it actually takes your connective tissue and a lot of other tissues and just dissolves it. Okay? Part of the reason it's dissolving, notice I said part, is because of gelatinase digestion into amino acids and short peptides. Okay, so I threw in some data from, okay, well, what does this mean as far as virulence, right? How serious the infection is. This is a killing curve or survival curve. And the filled arrows here, this is just percent survival, so they inject a certain number of mice with in the filled arrows, or the filled symbols here, are wild type, just normal, sorry, a little bit of lingo there, normal, non-mutant Enterococcus faecalis, this is. And in the diamonds here, you can see they add 4.3 times 10 to the 8, so that's a 4, a 3, and then 7 zeros. That's quite a bit of cells. And they get within what's this, about 35 hours, all of the mice are dead, right? None have survived. And then if you increase the number of cells, right, same strain, you increase it just a little bit, you had 6.5 times 10 to the 8th, you get more of those mice dying more quickly. So, either way, by 35 hours after infecting, they're all dead. Okay? So this is definitely a LD50 sort of experiment. Okay? Now the thing is these open symbols here, this is actually a strain of Enterococcus faecalis that lacks the expression of the gelatinase enzyme. It cannot degrade gelatin. It cannot degrade collagen. And you can see when you inject 6 times 10 to the 8th, so quite a bit of cells, those mice, there's a little bit of die-off right here. You go from 100% to 90% survival, right? So 10% of your mice do die, but through the rest of the experiment, those mice don't die. So just knocking down the gelatinase expression makes this a much less virulent bacteria. But you can, however, notice in these open squares, that's that gelatinase negative mutant. When you increase it by 1.2 times 10 to the 9th cells, you can kill the mice with this thing. Right? If you add enough cells, it will kill the mice, but it takes far more cells of a gelatinase negative bacteria to do it than it did this sort of natural strain, or wild strain, if you will, of Enterococcus faecalis. Okay, now don't get caught into thinking that this means you got to understand anything about Enterococcus faecalis specifically. I'm merely trying to show you the effect of knocking out the gelatinase expression in an organism, in a bacteria, and how that affects its virulence directly. All right. So, all right. Strain doesn't produce gelatinase. I said that. All right. So the horrors of necrotizing fasciitis. Necrotizing fasciitis is one of the most disgusting clinical situations you could ever imagine. And I apologize for this picture coming up. It's truly gruesome. So please make the children leave the room. Here it comes. I chickened out. You can Google necrotizing fasciitis yourself, and I actually scanned around and I thought, oh, these are just too disgusting. I can't put them up. But keep in mind, some of the reason necrotizing fasciitis happens is that the bacteria is literally turning your tissues, or the tissues, into liquid by digesting the collagen protein and other proteins. There are other proteins that does this too, into amino acids, and then it's a liquid. And that's why Amy Copeland ended up losing limbs. A very, very, very serious situation. So anyway, that's how gelatinase relates to the real clinical world. That's it.